The unspoken contract was written before you could read, produce, or disappear. Today, you'll learn why that contract was always a lie. By the end of this video, you'll discover the hidden truth that will free you from the production trap that's stealing your life force. You'll see how to reclaim your inherent worth beyond what you produce, and experience the freedom, connection, and peace you've been working so hard to earn. What I'm about to share will transform how you experience your own value, not through more striving, but through a profound shift in how you see yourself as a man. Look at your hands right now. What have they built? What have they earned? What have they made that proves you deserve to be here today? The silent deal was written before you could read. Your worth as a man is measured by what you make, your output, what you can do. The world doesn't care who you are, only what you make, what you give, what you add to the machine. You've become a tool, not a person. When was the last time someone asked how you were doing and really waited for your answer? Not, what are you working on? Not, how's that project coming along? Just, you, the human behind the work. The truth hurts more than we want to admit. Men aren't loved for who they are. They're valued for what they produce. Take a breath. This isn't about being lazy or not taking care of business. This is about the quiet harm of seeing a human being as just what he makes instead of who he is. You didn't fail at balancing life and work. You were never meant to balance them at all. It's about the soul death that happens when you start to believe, if I don't produce, I don't deserve to exist. You feel it when you take a sick day and guilt washes over you. You feel it when you can't relax on vacation because doing nothing feels wrong. You feel it in the worry at midnight that whispers you haven't done enough, aren't enough, will never be enough without more things to show for your life. This invisible cage wasn't built in a day. And what's scary is how willingly we add more bars to it, passing it down from father to son, boss to worker, man to man. The most productive man in the graveyard is still dead. The damage is happening inside you right now as you listen to these words. It's in how you introduce yourself at parties. Always by your job title, never by what you love or who you really are. It's in how you judge other men. He's successful means he produces well. He's struggling means he doesn't make enough. We've created a ranking system based on productivity scores, and we're locking ourselves in it. You've been taught that your value is in your hands, not your heart. The production trap turns even your rest into failure. When was the last time you truly relaxed without the shadow of "I should be working" hanging over you? When did free time become something you have to earn instead of something you deserve just by being human? Think about your friends. How many friendships exist outside of work or making things? How many men do you know just for who they are, not what they can do for you or with you? Your absence at work causes a small problem. Your absence from your own life causes lasting damage. The production trap leaves you alone in plain sight, surrounded by co-workers but starving for real connection. This system of worth through production has left emotional damage everywhere. It's why men lead in suicide numbers. It's why retirement becomes an identity crisis that many never recover from. It's why your father couldn't tell you he loved you without adding, "I'm proud of what you've accomplished." Take another breath. Feel how heavy these words are. Who gets upset when you step away from the production line of life? Who gets uncomfortable when you claim value just for being human? Who wins by keeping you on the hamster wheel, always chasing the next achievement to prove you deserve to take up space? Drop a link in the comments if you felt these chains. The saddest part is watching men defend this system that's killing them, arguing strongly that their worth should be measured by their usefulness, like prisoners who defend their prison. We've become so used to our cages that freedom looks scary. You don't build your worth. You were born with it. In the 1940s, a thinker named Martin Heidegger wrote about what he called the age of technology, where people would start to see themselves and others as resources to use instead of beings to know. He wasn't talking about phone addiction. He was seeing something much darker: the shrinking of human worth down to function. Heidegger called this mindset enframing, seeing everything, including ourselves, as raw material to be used. Trees become lumber, mountains become mining spots, and men become what they can produce, their usefulness, their role in systems of money and power. You're not a resource. You're a human being. This isn't just a big idea. It's in our everyday words. We talk about human resources, man-hours, and productivity scores. We spend time instead of living it. We invest in relationships instead of enjoying them. Everything about how we talk makes human life sound like a business. Input and output. Think about how the ancient Greeks saw life in two ways: Zoe and bios. Zoe is simple aliveness, the fact that you breathe just like all living things. Bios is your life story, what you've built and done. Today's world has almost totally mixed these up, erasing Zoe and worshiping bios. Your story must be productive to matter. Your simple existence means nothing without achievements attached to it. Stop for a moment. Let that sink in. This affects all men, no matter what kind of work they do. Blue-collar workers are valued for their physical output, how much they can lift, build, fix, or produce in a day. White-collar workers measure themselves through promotions, sales numbers, or client lists. Even creative jobs now have productivity scores. Followers, likes, views, putting numbers on things that can't be measured. Your hands were made to hold your child, not just build their future. The writer Byung-Chul Han explains how we've moved from a society where others force you to produce to one where you push yourself harder than any boss ever could. The achievement subject exploits itself until it burns out. He writes, "We've put the boss's whip inside our own minds." What's most sad is how we've confused this modern situation for natural law, as if men have always been valued mainly for their production. But research shows many older cultures valued men for many different things: wisdom, storytelling, knowing rituals, good character, family skills, or simply being present in the community. The shrinking of male worth to production isn't how things always were. It's a modern change made worse by factories, capitalism, and now digital tracking of every part of performance. But knowing this history isn't enough to break free. Here's what you need to understand about breaking free from the production trap. These aren't just ideas. They're transformative truths that will change how you experience your worth. Truth 1. The breath reveals your inherent worth. Take a deep breath. Feel your chest rise and fall. This simple act of breathing has value that can't be measured. Your breath, this most basic sign of life, carries more worth than anything you'll ever produce. The fact that you're breathing right now makes you valuable. No achievement needed, no output required. When you feel the pressure to prove your worth through production, return to your breath. Let it remind you that you were born worthy, not made worthy through what you create. Your presence has value your productivity will never touch. Truth 2. Your language creates your reality. What makes this trap so effective is how it disguises itself as virtue. The productive man is the good man, the provider, the builder, the achiever. We've mixed up moral worth with economic output so completely that questioning this view feels like attacking responsibility itself. You don't owe productivity to deserve breakfast. The words you use shape how you experience your worth. When you describe yourself only by what you do, I'm an engineer, I'm a provider, I'm successful, you reinforce the lie that your value comes from your function. Listen to how you introduce yourself, how you talk about other men. The language of production is everywhere, turning humans into functions, being into doing. Your worth exists before language, before titles, before achievements. The words that truly define you have nothing to do with what you produce. Truth 3. Boundaries protect your true identity. The trap works through several connected tricks. First, there's the measurement villain, the voice that needs to count everything. It's not enough to write, you need word counts. It's not enough to exercise, you need performance numbers. It's not enough to love, you need relationship milestones. This villain turns every human experience into a production value. The measurement villain whispers that if it can't be counted, it doesn't count. Sitting with your child without checking your phone? Worthless. Taking a walk without tracking your steps? Wasted time. Being present with aging parents without also getting something done? Inefficient. Freedom comes when you create boundaries around your worth. When you declare certain spaces, physical, emotional, temporal, where production values cannot enter. Where you exist without needing to justify that existence through activity. Your worth needs protection from the constant invasion of productivity metrics. Boundaries aren't just helpful. They're necessary to reclaim your identity beyond what you produce. Truth 4. Your legacy is presence, not production. Second, there's the legacy mirage, the belief that what you produce will somehow outlive you. I built this, you think, as if the company, the building, the fortune, or the achievement will keep some part of you alive. But everything made eventually falls apart. Every fortune gets spent. Every company changes or closes. Even art fades or loses meaning over time. Who remembers the essential men from just 3 generations ago? Your identity based on production is building on sand. The truth that will set you free is this. Your real legacy isn't what you build. It's who you become, not the output of your hands, but the quality of your presence. Not what you leave behind, but how fully you showed up. Your body knew the truth before your mind did. That's why it breaks down when you lie to it. 3 generations from now, no one will remember what you produced. But the quality of presence you brought to your relationships will echo through time in ways you'll never see, but always matter. Truth 5. Connection happens beyond production. Third, there's the belonging paradox, the sad irony that producing to belong actually separates you from real connection. When relationships become transactions, based on what you bring to the table rather than who you are, true closeness becomes impossible. You're working yourself to death to avoid the pain of being unseen. Men trapped in production-based worth often feel deeply alone, even when surrounded by co-workers, friends, or family who value them. You don't have to earn your place at the human table. You were born worthy of belonging. True connection, the kind your soul is starving for, only happens when you show up beyond your productivity. When you allow yourself to be seen not for what you can do, but for who you are. When you risk being valued for your essence rather than your function. The hardest truth to accept is that much of this training came from those who claimed to love you. Your father measuring you by grades and achievements. Your mother praising productivity over presence. Teachers rewarding output rather than curiosity or character. Early relationships where your worth was tied to what you provided. Take a moment. This isn't blaming those who raised you. They too were caught in the same trap. We carry these voices inside us, this chorus of conditional acceptance. You are worthy if. You matter when. You deserve love after. But there are cracks in the fortress wall. Moments when the illusion breaks down. Think about the dying man who never says, "I should have spent more time at the office." Think about how quickly your job title means nothing during deep grief or joy. Think about how children love you for your presence, not your provision, until we teach them otherwise. These moments show a deeper truth. Production matters, but it isn't what makes you matter. The journey to reclaiming your worth beyond production happens in daily moments of choice, not through complicated systems, but through simple awareness and truth. When the voice of productivity anxiously rises in you, return to your breath. Feel the rising and falling of your chest. Remember that you were breathing before you ever produced anything. Your worth preceded your first achievement. Notice the language you use to describe yourself and others. How often does it center on function rather than being? Make small shifts in how you speak about yourself and other men. Replace "he's successful" with "he's present." Describe yourself first by qualities of being, not metrics of production. Create islands of worthiness in your day. Moments where you exist without justification. Sit on a park bench without checking your phone. Walk without tracking your steps. Be with someone you love, without an agenda. These aren't just nice activities. They're revolutionary acts that reclaim your inherent dignity. Ask yourself, what would change if I truly believed my worth wasn't tied to my output? Let the answer emerge slowly. Don't rush to action. Just hold the question. Productivity without presence is just fancy absence. At least once a day, do something that produces nothing. Something that can't be measured, optimized, or leveraged. Something that exists solely for the experience of being alive. This isn't laziness. It's remembrance of who you are beyond function. When you feel the pull to justify your existence through achievement, whisper to yourself, "I am not what I produce." Let these words sink into your bones. Repeat them until your body relaxes into the truth. You don't have to earn your existence. You don't have to justify your breath with achievements. You are not what you produce. Say it again. You are not what you produce. Once more, with everything you have. You are not what you produce. The cost of your productivity addiction isn't just burnout. It's a life you never fully lived. Look at how strongly you're fighting this message right now. Part of you is arguing, but without my productivity, who am I? Without my achievements, what's my value? If not what I produce, then what? This resistance shows how completely you've merged with the production identity. You've accepted the terms of your own shrinking. you've become the system that makes you smaller. What scares you more? Failing to produce, or finding out who you are beyond production? Sit with that question. Don't rush to answer it. When was the last time you sat quietly without a goal? When did you last do something with no purpose beyond the experience itself? How long has it been since you allowed yourself to exist without justification? Your worth was never in question, only your willingness to believe in it. The production identity is tempting because it's clear, measurable, and rewarded by society. Being simply human is messy, boundless, and often invisible to a world obsessed with numbers. But this messiness is where your real life happens. Think of the men you truly look up to. Is it only their achievements you value? Or is it something more basic, their presence, their character, their way of moving through the world? Would you still respect them if they lost everything they'd built? If your answer changes, you're still trapped in the production mindset. What if the most rebellious act for modern men isn't producing more, better, faster, but rather remembering how to simply be? Productivity doesn't make you a man. It makes you a function. Being fully human makes you a man. What would 1 month of living from inherent worth look like for you? Not a rigid program, but a journey of rediscovering your value beyond production. Imagine starting each day with the recognition that you matter before you make anything, that your breath carries more worth than your biggest achievement, that being precedes doing. Imagine conversations where you're truly present, not mentally tracking what you should be producing instead, where you allow yourself to be known, not just valued for your function. Imagine what would shift in your relationships if you stopped trying to earn love through provision and instead risked being loved for your presence. If you allowed yourself to need others as much as they need you, imagine what creative possibilities might emerge if you created from wholeness rather than lack. If your work flowed from worth rather than desperately trying to establish it. For the next 30 days, carry these questions with you. Who am I beyond what I produce? What parts of me have been starving for recognition? Where have I confused my function with my worth? What would change if I truly believed I was already worthy? Let these questions work on you. Let them reveal what you've always known but have been trained to forget. This isn't spiritual nonsense. This isn't toxic positivity claiming you're perfect just as you are, while ignoring real-world demands. This is seeing that your human worth and your productive value are different things that we've harmfully mixed together. You don't earn the right to exist. You don't produce your way into deserving love. You don't achieve your way into basic acceptance. Who gets uncomfortable when you claim your basic worth? Who benefits when you believe you must constantly prove your value through production? Who profits from your belief that rest must be earned and presence must be justified? Take a breath. These questions have answers, but first you must sit with them. The deeper journey isn't giving up productivity. It's putting it in its proper place in a meaningful life. Production serves life, not the other way around. Your output matters, but it isn't what makes you matter. Your exhaustion isn't weakness. It's your body fighting against the lie that your worth comes from your work. You are not what you produce. You are not what you produce. You are not what you produce. This truth will set you free. But first, it will shake up everything you've been taught about what makes a man valuable. Claiming your worth beyond production doesn't happen through more self-improvement projects or productivity tricks. It happens through presence. Bold, unapologetic presence with yourself and others. Start with small acts of worthiness. Sit without purpose for 5 minutes. Have a talk with no goal in mind. Create something you'll never share or sell. Love someone without keeping score of what you provide. The world measures your output. Your soul measures your presence. Notice the worry that comes when you step off the production treadmill. That discomfort is the withdrawal symptom from an addiction to outside validation. Breathe through it. The anxiety isn't a sign you're doing something wrong. It's proof of how deeply the production identity has taken over your sense of self. The path forward isn't rejecting productivity. It's seeing it as part of a bigger understanding of your worth. You produce because you're alive, not to justify being alive. Your value creation becomes an expression of your humanity, not the source of it. Imagine relating to your work, your relationships, and yourself from this foundation. Not desperately trying to prove your worth, but creating from the settled knowledge that you already matter. This is the difference between a man driven by lack and a man operating from wholeness. The world won't quickly validate this shift. You've been valuable to systems precisely because you believed your worth depended on constant production. Some will resist your claiming of basic dignity because it threatens the structures that profit from your self-reduction. Your worth isn't waiting at the finish line. It's been with you at the starting block all along. Stand firm in this truth. You were born worthy. Everything you produce flows from this worth. It doesn't create it. In the comments below, make this promise to yourself. I am not what I produce. This isn't just words. It's the first declaration of freedom from a system that has shrunk your humanity down to your usefulness. This realization about production and worth is just the beginning. What happens when men reclaim their basic dignity is nothing short of revolutionary. But it takes ongoing practice. In our next video, we'll look at how to handle relationships when you're no longer defining yourself through what you provide. How do you love differently? How do you work differently? How do you handle the pushback from those who benefited from your production identity? Subscribe now so you don't miss this important next step in reclaiming your full humanity. This isn't about becoming less effective in the world. It's about working from a foundation of basic worth, rather than desperate proving. Productivity without presence is just fancy absence. The surprise. Men who know their value beyond production often create work with more meaning and impact than those driven by the need to justify their existence. Hit subscribe if you're ready to explore what becomes possible when you build a life on the truth that you are not what you produce. You are infinitely more complex, valuable, and worthy than anything your hands could ever make. When a man realizes his worth isn't measured by his output, something ancient wakes up. The world will keep asking what you've made, what you've built, what you've achieved. Let it ask. These are smaller questions than the one that matters. Who have you become in the process? There is a quiet space waiting for you beyond the noise of constant production. In that quiet lives the man you've always been, before the world convinced you that your existence needed proving. He's still there, and he's never needed to earn his place in this world. Your value was never in your hands, it was in your breath. The most valuable thing you'll ever produce isn't a thing at all. It's how fully present you are in this brief, amazing moment of being alive. Everything else is just small notes at the bottom of the page. Your silence wasn't production, it was losing yourself.